So glad to be with you. I'm David Brown. I'm the University Advisor to the Office of the Dean of Klein College of Media and Communications at Temple University, and I'm proud board chair of this organization. Welcome to our press conference for the 28th annual. Yeah, I know, right? Worthy of applause. Makes me feel incredibly old. I was here for the first one. So wonderful to have us all here today. We are going to have a series of remarks, and we're going to certainly have our unveiling of the mural and talk about what this very important King Day of Service is going to be this year in 2023. This is an annual tradition that we have had for the city of Philadelphia, and it's a proud tradition. It enables us, and now that we're on the other side, we hope, of the pandemic, getting back together and being able to be in service to the community, but with one another. With that being said, I'd like to introduce Dr. Chris Goins, who is the co-chair of this event, but also president of Girard College, who has been an incredible partner, an incredible host for us over the years, as this being our signature site. Dr. Goins.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm still a teacher. Hello, Chris Goins, the president of Girard College, and I cannot move forward with my remarks without acknowledging that this pin I have on and the colors that I'm wearing today are in recognition and commemoration to Dr. Martin Luther King, who was also our frat brother, and a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Yes. And thank you, David, for the kind introduction, and good morning and welcome everyone to Girard College and those of you all who are joining us online. Girard College is honored once again to partner with Global Citizen and serve as the signature site for Greater Philadelphia's Martin Luther King Day of Service. We look forward to welcoming our partners, our neighbors, and many inspiring organizations who will lead service projects throughout the day. Please turn your phones off. Yeah. Girard College is also celebrating our 175th year anniversary. 2023. And this marks our commemoration of celebrating and transforming lives through education. And from its first day until today, the college has provided the resources and opportunities needed for students to thrive and succeed in education and in life. By providing a safe, supportive environment in which students can try, fail, learn, and explore, Girard puts young people on a path to discovering their purpose in life. The Martin Luther King Day of Service is a wonderful opportunity for our students to meet and work with others who share their passion for service and commitment to social justice. As I have grown to know our students this year, I'm also very proud of the leadership and compassion they have demonstrated in their community efforts. And Dr. King once wrote that intelligence plus character is the goal of true education. The complete education gives not only power to concentrate, but worthy objectives on which to concentrate. On January 16th, we come together to shine light on these worthy objectives and take action to address the injustices that persist in our world. Economic opportunity, voting rights, access to high quality healthcare are all issues that our students and families struggle with because of bias and a fraction system. And of course, too many children in this school, in this city, and in this nation have suffered the trauma and grief of gun violence. And I experienced it as a principal in Chicago, where our community buried 6 Black males whose futures were tragically cut short. I mean, 6 Black males in 6 years. Last year, our Girard community faced devastation to lose Chris Minners, a residential advisor and former student at Girard College, in a senseless act of gun violence. This should not and cannot be the norm for our young people. The college is committed to supporting meaningful change in the fight against gun violence. We recently partnered with our neighbors, St. Joe's Prep and Jesus School, to co-sponsor a pair of gun buyback events that yielded more than 120 guns that were collected off the streets. We will continue to support our students with mental health resources and educate them on the systemic causes of this crisis. Together, we will keep our students safe and create a better world for them and with them. We're grateful to our many partners that support our students to become active citizens. Thank you to Todd Bernstein and his team at Global Citizen for elevating these important issues in keeping Dr. King's legacy at the forefront of our minds. Thank you to Phil Asbury and the Mural Arts Program for collaborating with our students and showing them the power of art and how the power of art can enact social change. And Girard College will always be a willing home for the Martin Luther King Day of Service. We will continue to seek out partnerships and share resources with our wider community as a campus for the city. Together, we can be a model for our students as we strive to achieve peace and bring justice into the world. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Goins. And I should have was remiss in our very talented sign language interpreter, Ms. Roz McKelvey, to my left. As we were talking before about, Roz has showed me one symbol that hopefully will become much more prevalent here in the city. It's the sign of I love you. You can't shoot, you can't commit violence when you have your hands up like this, when you can say I love you. So Roz, thank you for allowing us to do that. At this time, I'd like to introduce Todd Bernstein, who's president of Global Citizen and founder and director of the Greater Martin Luther King Philadelphia Martin Luther King Day of Service. Todd is a force to be reckoned with. He has been the driving force behind this incredible movement of service throughout the city. I'm proud to serve with him as his board chair and looking forward to what he's going to unveil to us today. Todd.
Thanks, David. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining us for the 28th time, which is just incredible to believe. 12 days from now, we will have our King Day of Service throughout the region. We are getting closer to normal, which is exciting after a pandemic. Chris Goins, thank you so much for hosting us. This is not just a place to hold an event. Girard College has such a rich civil rights history with Dr. King coming here in 1965. So I think it's extra special that we get to partner with you every year, and this will be our 14th year. Thanks to our 52 sponsors, our co-chairs, to my Global Citizen colleagues who work tirelessly and passionately on this work. I do want to recognize a few special guests. I know that Bill Golder, the president and CEO of the United Way of Greater Philadelphia, Southern New Jersey, somewhere out there in virtual land. I think I see Commissioner Thiel from the Philadelphia Fire Department, who does such an outstanding job. I don't think Reverend Martin is here yet. Oh, greetings. How are you? Thank you, Reverend Martin from Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church, one of our key partners. Pastor Waller, Ed Hazori in the back, who is one of our board chairs at Global Citizen. I don't know if Reverend Collier is here from the Black Clergy yet, and Reverend Greg Holston, who chairs the Black Clergy's Violence Prevention Task Force. We're expecting Dr. Monica Taylor from the Delaware County Council. She is the chair of the council. We have Gibran Getz and Cynthia Taylor, partners of ours at the incredible Black Doctors Consortium started by Dr. Ayla Stanford and her colleagues. As we honor Dr. King, his life, and embrace his legacy, it should not be lost on us that Dr. King was a victim of gun violence in 1968. 55 years later, hundreds of precious lives were lost to gun violence last year, like Zachariah July, the 19-year-old son of my dear friend, Kent July, who you will be hearing from shortly. This is not just a law enforcement problem or a government problem. It is a societal tragedy that requires harnessing all the available resources with, as Dr. King used to say, the fierce urgency of now. In our main projects, we're partnering with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, assembling gun safety locks, and including the locks and other materials which will be distributed to the community. Temple University's Fighting Chance program will involve volunteers assembling gun prevention kits, which will include tourniquets and other materials that will actually allow treatment to be given on site after a victim suffers gun violence. I know Dr. Waddington and the school district make use of these programs. Thank you, Scott Charles, for that. At noon, there's going to be on King Day a very special rally for peace and justice in the elementary school auditorium that is being led by the Black Doctors. Being led by the Black clergy of Philadelphia vicinity and their 57 blocks program, and our old friends, Karen Asper Jordan at the Cecil B. Moore Philadelphia Freedom Fighters. The rally will include a presentation on the history and culture, civil rights activism, presentations and breakout sessions on gun violence that need to be addressed specifically, actions that need to be addressed, and also making a firm commitment as individuals and collectively. We'll have a focus on health justice with the Black Doctors Consortium and others, voter education and registration, which I think my friend Charmaine Matlock Turner will talk about, kids projects, reading books, training reading captains, a whole myriad of things, and a jobs fair for the 14th year in partnership with the Urban League of Philadelphia. Dennis, are you here? Yes, thank you to the Urban League for our partnership. All that is to say that there will be hundreds of projects going on throughout the city, some virtually, which we've learned the pandemic can be very effective, and many in person. Anyone can learn more to either volunteer for a project or host a project at MLKDayofservice.org. But I think the most important thing to know is that King's birthday is not just a birthday celebration. It's an opportunity to make his legacy of fighting for racial and social justice our mission too, not just one day of the year, but every day of the year. So it is my last duty, and it's a pleasure to bring the mayor for remarks and presentation of our annual Harris Wofford Active Citizenship Award. He's been an advocate for civic engagement and harnessing the resources of all of us as citizens. So please welcome Mayor Jim Kenney.
Thank you, Todd, and good morning to everyone. The past morning, for more than 28 years, more than 2 million people of all ages and backgrounds throughout our region have honored Dr. King's life and legacy of social justice by participating in the Greater Philadelphia King Day of Service, the largest King Day event in the country. So thank you to Global Citizen for starting and leading this national movement since 1996, and for continuing to provide year-round civic engagement programs amongst diverse communities. This year's focus is on gun violence prevention, which is one of the most pressing challenges we face as a city and as a nation. This affects all of us, whether the victim is a family member, a friend, or even a community member we did not know personally. Can I continue, Commissioner, or no? Reducing the pervasive gun violence impacting our city is our top priority as an administration. I share the frustration that we all feel in search of difficult solutions. We must harness all the resources we have: government, law enforcement, grassroots, anti-violence organizations, communities of faith, social services. In short, we need everybody. Thank you to all who will be part of this initiative on King Day, and most importantly, every day. This Day of Service initiative is led by Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, Temple University Hospital, the Black clergy of Philadelphia and vicinity, and the Black Doctors Consortium. And may I thank them again for their wonderful work with testing and vaccinations. I mean, it was just an amazing We were one of the most equitable cities in the nation when it came to testing and vaccinations, so we wouldn't have ever been able to do it without you. So thank you. As always, the city of Philadelphia will continue our participation. The fire department will host projects throughout the city, and our health department will be training volunteers to serve in our medical reserve corps. I want to thank the 50+ King Day of Service sponsors, led by Independence Blue Cross and the United Way of Greater Philadelphia and Southern New Jersey. As I have said repeatedly, we must embrace Dr. King's legacy of racial and social justice and citizen action, not just on King Day, but every day. Philadelphia remains a city on the rise, thanks in large part to the resilience of our people and the hard work of those on the ground and in the community. It's why I'm honored not only to be here today, but also to be presenting 25th Annual King Day of Service Harris Wofford Active Citizenship Award to someone who is an example of the resilience and dedication to our city and its residents. This year's recipient embodies what it means to embrace Dr. King's legacy of justice and dedication and compassion each and every day. So I'm pleased to present the 25th Annual Award to Scott Charles, Trauma Outreach Manager at Temple University Hospital, who works works 365 days of the year to support the victims of gun violence and their families. He is the director of Temple Hospital's Cradle to Grave program, an award-winning hospital-based violence prevention initiative that educates public school students and adjudicated youth about the medical realities of firearm injury. Scott also coordinates the hospital's trauma victim support advocates, which provide real-time support at bedside to victims of trauma and their families, and connects violently injured patients to crime victim services throughout our city. Scott also directs the hospital's Fighting Chance program, which will be featured during the King Day of Service. Fighting Chance teaches community members to provide first aid to victims of gunshot injuries. Scott also directs the Safe Bet program, which has distributed more than 8,000 free gun locks to city residents. On behalf of Global Citizen and the Greater Philadelphia King Day of Service, I am pleased to present Scott Charles with the 25th Annual Harris Wofford Active Citizenship Award.
All right, so, yeah, he got me good. So I couldn't figure out why Todd was so insistent that I be here today. And then I was wondering why he quarantined me over on this side. I can say that I'm genuinely honored to be here. I am somebody who's had the luxury and the misfortune of working on the front lines of this issue for almost 20 years. And I can admit that it's hard to do this sometimes. It's hard to find the strength and the courage, but being in a room full of people who seemed as determined as I and my colleagues to address this issue is encouraging and heartening. This is a very tough challenge that we have in front of us, and nothing is more, reminds us more of this fact than we are honoring a man who was at the forefront of humanity, who lost his life to gun violence. I thank you all for allowing me to share this honor with you, to be here with you today. Thank you to Todd Bernstein for his tireless work with this King Day of Service, and all of the folks who are involved in this endeavor. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you.
Congratulations again. We just like seeing your face that you did not know. That's what it is. But also, as was already said, it's not to do this not for the recognition, but the work is necessary. And on that note, the fact that education has been mentioned many times throughout the course of this time together, we recognize how important education is. Certainly, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome to the podium Dr. Tony Wappington, who is both co-chair of this endeavor and this event and superintendent of our school district. As a proud public school graduate, I'm glad to see that the representation is certainly here in the room. Dr. Wappington.
Good morning. Thank you, Co-Chair Brown, Co-Chair Mr. President, President Goins, Mayor Kenny, Mr. Bernstein. I want to take a moment to just say I'm excited to call you Mr. President, President Goins. I had the good fortune of being principal at the James B. Dudley Senior High School, one of the oldest African-American high schools in North Carolina and in the nation. And he was a very fine history teacher. And it's ironic that history teacher and a fellow Alpha comes to Philadelphia this year. And a fellow Aggie. And a fellow Aggie. Aggie Brown. All right, so I'm really excited to be here today and so proud to, with this notion that it's been 28 years since the school district has been collaborating as a partner with Global Citizen in hosting and recognizing the work and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know, I'm really inspired, not just as an educator responsible for, as Mayor Kenny says, the future of children here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm excited and inspired because at the beginning of every year, when I make my New Year's resolutions, I think about Dr. King and the infinite possibilities of getting a second chance every year. And I love that quote by Dr. King where he said, "The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice." It inspires me. So I could not be more pleased to continue that tradition and join you in this federal holiday. My first day of service here in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. I'm elated also to join our students who will diligently work on required service learning projects. Dr. King was a champion for change, and he preached the importance of nonviolent measures to bring justice, to bring attention to injustices. You recall him saying that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I'm proud this morning about the holiday and observance of Dr. King's life. The district is hosted, and as a part of that, I'm pleased to announce that our school district is hosting a virtual annual social justice summit at 9 a.m. on the observance day. So I invite you to go to our website to learn all about it, philasd.org. In the school district, we're thinking about the King holiday as not a day off, but a day on, a day of service. And we're excited about our virtual social justice summit. I'm also pleased to support this year's theme, which calls attention to senseless gun violence across the city. Unfortunately, gun violence affects our students and their families, and it's absolutely unacceptable, as Mayor Kenny has said many times. I applaud your leadership in assembling gun violence prevention kits. Thank you so much on behalf of the school district and our families, including the gun locks, as we unite to be intentional about protecting our children. I hope others will join us in solidarity on this important day of remembrance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Wappington. And now I had the pleasure, under very challenging circumstances, to meet our next speaker, Mr. Ken July, who's father of gun violence victim Zachariah July. Ken and I were on a Zoom call talking about violence and how we need to take many different steps toward preventing violence. And it doesn't come home any more than a father who has to see his son fall victim to this type of violence. But it does embody the reason why we're here today. So with no further ado, Mr. Ken July.
Good morning. Good morning. Mr. Mayor, Todd, President. I'm not happy to be standing here today on what should be a celebration about the possibility of our future. My son, Zachariah Owen July, on July the 2nd of this past year, celebrating the birth of this country, of this nation, was shot and killed. My wife and I received a phone call at 1:30 in the morning from one of his friend's mother, who had been at this party with them. And her words were, "Please tell me Zachariah is in his bed." He was not. And unfortunately, there were hundreds of others before us receiving that phone call, and there have been hundreds of others since. Zachariah was 6'5", he was 19, he was a son, a grandson, a brother, a nephew, a friend. His eyes welcomed everyone. His smile brought you towards him. And he was open and supportive of all who met him. His eyes have been closed forever. If you think about Dr. Martin Luther King, everyone knows the "I Have a Dream" speech. But I question, how many have read the letter from Birmingham jail? When we think about our future, when he thought about our future, and what truly was going to matter to help all of us gather together in celebration, in support, to lift each and every one of us. That letter speaks volumes. How do we move forward? Can listen to Dr. Martin Luther King, not just that which is flowery, but that which tells us to take a hard look at ourselves, so that other boys and girls are not murdered, but in fact are held up and are educated and are given opportunities, so they don't feel the only way to be seen is with a weapon in their hand. We parented our sons because Zachariah has a brother who is 18 months and was exactly. Parenting is important. Mentoring is important. Sponsoring is important. And remembering is important. Our story and his story. Everyone gathered for the day of service throughout the nation should be remembering their collective stories, should remembering their brothers and sisters and sons and grandsons who have been murdered. We need to do better. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King knew the arc of his story, and he still went forward to better all of us. Those of us who are victims, who are survivors, have to find a way to embrace going forward and doing better for all of us and everyone else. As I look at the young people that are here in this room, part of my job is to mentor you. All of us adults in this room, our job is to mentor and to sponsor. That's my opinion. I'm one father who has one son here and one son who's not here, but I stand for him. I stand for you. I appreciate all of you who continue to stand and have stood for all of the young people that come after us. Thank you for allowing me to share this space and this time with all of you.
Such a powerful testimony. Takes tremendous courage. But as Mr. July had mentioned, he has a responsibility to Zachariah and to all the young people yet to encounter that we have to advocate for, we have to mentor. And no better manifestation about how that mentorship can manifest itself in some very powerful ways than the artwork we're about to see. At this time, one of the traditions of our King Day of Service and our press conference regarding that is the unveiling of a mural. I'd like to invite Mr. Phil Asbury, who is the Director of Community Murals at Liberal Arts Philadelphia, to take the stage and also to welcome the students.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. July, for your words. Proud and honored to stand with you today in this work. Thank you, Co-Chairman, for the introduction. At Mural Arts, we believe that art ignites change. This is the change that can transform the lives of our justice and addiction impacted community members. This is the change of the spaces where our children desire only to play freely and safely. This is the change within our educational system and other institutions that are fraught with historical inequity. We truly believe that art is a tool that can push the needle in these and other arenas which Dr. King fought so valiantly in. This is why Mural Arts Philadelphia is excited to participate in our 26th Philadelphia Annual Martin Luther King Day of Service. This year's theme is Imagining a World Without Gun Violence. The theme was sparked by the moving words of Yolanda Renee King, Martin Luther King's 14-year-old granddaughter, in an opinion piece last year in the Washington Post. Like every year, we worked with a diverse group of brilliant young people, some who are here today with us, to discuss the theme, translate their ideas into visual imagery in the hopes of further extending and actualizing Dr. King's legacy. When we met with the students this year, they expressed feelings of fear and anger and anxiety with regard to gun violence, but were also very poetic in their demanding of public safety and creative in their imagining ways forward for the Philadelphia and greater communities. This year, we worked with elementary, middle, and high school students from Girard College, the Woodland School, Al-Aqsa Islamic Academy, who is here with us today, Barak Hebrew Academy, and Avery D. Harrington Elementary School. The project was supported by teaching artists Rosie Morales, Brianna Dawkins, Priscilla Bell, and project manager Nyasa Hendricks. So without further ado, I ask for the help of our students from Al-Aqsa Academy to usher in to the left, and we can share the beautiful work that we created collaboratively this year. All right. So on the count of three, we will reveal this year's collaboration, which will be featured tied together on King Day. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thank you.
What a beautiful expression. Hopefully that will linger with folks who took pictures, folks who are televising. This is wonderful. We'll see it again on King Day service. At this time, I'd like to invite dear friend and longtime colleague, Karina Marshall Blake, was president of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation, a staunch advocate of both healthcare and healthy living. Please. At this time.
Good morning to everyone. I'm so excited. I mean, I can't even draw a stick. I mean, they were just awesome, awesome. First, thank you, Mr. July, for your powerful statement and for all that you're doing to support the King Day of Service. I wish you and your family blessings and peace. I hope everyone, again, speaking of peace, had a peaceful holiday season. Now we enter into another important time in our city, and the time again when we celebrate and reflect on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And on behalf of our president and CEO, Greg Devens, and everyone at Independence Blue Cross, let me say how proud I am to support Philadelphia's observance of the King Day of Service. And Dr. Watley, I want to say I'm a proud graduate of public school also. All right, I get that in. I also want again to congratulate Scott Charles. I know we got you, but that's just awesome and so well deserved for getting the Harris Wofford Award. And again, Todd, I can't thank you enough, the global citizen, as well as Mayor Kinney and the city for their dedication to Dr. King's legacy. This year's focus could not be more important or appropriate. Dr. King famously died, and we know that, from gun violence. He was also America's most prominent voice for nonviolence. And he was a gun owner who eventually gave up his own gun, saying, "I was much more afraid in Montgomery when I had a gun in my house." Today, more than half a century later, gun violence continues to challenge our ability to have a vibrant, safe, and successful city and region. We must act as a community to protect our citizens, especially our young people, and address the many factors that contribute to this deadly public health problem. For Independence, that includes joining the Coalition to Save Lives. The coalition is bringing together public, private, and philanthropic resources to help reverse the devastating gun violence trend. Through collaboration and community engagement, we can and will make a difference. And I look forward to seeing all of you, everybody in this room, on January 16th, as we act in Dr. King's memory to make our community a better place to live. And again, we often say, don't tell me you care, show me you care. So show up and be here. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you for your dedication and the dedication of Independence Blue Cross. At this time, I get again another pleasure to introduce a dear friend, mentor, coach, advocate, agitator. I can go on and on about the various roles that this person plays, but Charmaine Matlock Turner, who is also president and chief executive officer of Urban Affairs Coalition, one of the proud forces, both personally and organizationally, behind this King Day of Service. Charmaine.
Thank you, David. And thanks for not saying the part about golf, okay? Lorena, you said you can't draw. I'm still trying to get off of the first tee. So thank you, David. Wow, weren't those murals terrific? Yeah. Program for all they do to bring such joy at a time when we're facing such difficult challenges. To Mr. Kent July, know that your face and your story of your son will live with me as I continue the work that I do every single day. Thank you very, very much. And anything that I can do to help or support, know that I'm here. Scott, congratulations on the award. Todd did that to me. I'm just gonna let you know. So you're not alone, okay? When you sort of like get invited and you go like, what am I supposed to do? Just show up. And then all of a sudden you get this wonderful award in the name of terrific Senator, former Senator Harris Fulford. So again, congratulations. To Lorena Marshall Blake, who is a member of every board in Philadelphia, but that's the most important is the Urban Affairs Coalition. So thank you, Lorena. To Dr. Watlington, to the mayor, to certainly Todd Bernstein and Global Citizen and everybody who's here today. It's a pleasure to be a part of this continued celebration. 28 day of service. I remember the first one. How is that possible? And here we are continuing to say that we can do more together than we can separately. Again, my name is Charmaine Matlock Turner. I'm the CEO of the Urban Affairs Coalition, and I'm excited to be one of the proud sponsors of the King Day of Service during this momentous 60th anniversary year of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Sometimes we forget that part of the sentence. I want to say that again. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. The Urban Affairs Coalition was founded after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, right at a meeting at 12th and Market Street, which was then the PSFS Bank, which is now the Lowe's Hotel. And people came together to say, can we do more together than we can separately? Community-based organizations, business, government, Mayor Kinney, the city has been a tremendous supporter of the effort and the work of the coalition. And I want to thank you personally for all that you've done to make sure that the work of community-based organizations are seen as an important part of solving and working on the initiatives that are here in our city. The people who are closest to it know what needs to be done. We need to trust them. We need to see them. We need to hear them, and we need to support them. And through the Urban Affairs Coalition, that work has now continued for 53 years. As we commemorate the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, as we come together to live out Dr. King's dream and effort, as we embark on a mayoral election year, I want to talk about the fact that we need to invoke a 365-day a year, 24 hours a day truth. Our voice, our vote matters. Our voice, our vote matters. It's our voice, our vote that advances health justice, economic and educational equity. It is our voice, our vote that shapes our public servants and elected officials' approach to the devastating issue of gun violence in our community. I'm proud to be a part of the Coalition to Save Lives, but it will be the voters in every community that will say whether or not that work, that effort that we have come together to build in partnership with Mayor Kinney, whether or not it will survive. I have a sense of optimism today, though I feel the pain of today as well. The initiatives that we build together as a part of this effort include Global Citizens 365, who are there every single day, the Committee of 70, or other initiatives like the Linfest Institute's Every Voice, Every Vote, organizations like Pennsylvania Youth Vote, One Day at a Time, UACAP, and all of UAC's partners working to make our communities safe and equitable, that we all understand that civic engagement and voting rights education, and advocacy are a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week commitment. That our responsibility and commitment doesn't end at 11:59 p.m. on January 16th. And it doesn't sleep when the primaries close on May 16th. As someone who believes in change and still embraces optimism, I know that if we work together, if we really engage people in our communities every day, not just on election day, not just right before an election, but every day that says that your votes, your voice, your vote really matters. Please make sure that you participate in this effort. Talk to your family and friends, get them involved, partner with local citizens, partner with the King County Service. Let's make sure that everyone who is eligible to vote knows that we want to hear their voice. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the 16th.
Thank you, Charmaine. And as you mentioned, it doesn't start or stop on any given day. This is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-a-day effort, as is the fight for freedom. It's been said that freedom concedes nothing without a struggle, never has, never will. And our next speaker is someone who connects the dots of and embodies freedom. I've always looked forward to when the freedom fighters come and talk about their experience, because it connects the history that they have fought for with the future that we represent. So at this time, I'd like to invite Karen Ashford Jordan, president of the Cecil B. Moore Philadelphia Freedom Fighters, to the podium.
Speak prepared. After hearing everybody else speak, it's kind of went away. I want to say this. Think of the word senseless and what that means. It means nothing. There's no reason. A lot of these killings, it's not senseless. There's a reason for children to act the way they act. We failed. Perfectly honest. Every part of the government, city, state, federal, parents, me, you, we've all failed our children somewhere along the line. It's up to us, with the help of the children, because they know what's going on, to find an answer to all of this. Our babies were born with the song from Earth, Wind, Fire. Child was born with a heart of gold. Ways of the world makes hearts of cold. That's what's going on with our children. The lack of education, the lack of support, benign neglect, racism. This is what's happening to our children, and it's happening to the parents also. We're all a part of it. It's an all hands on deck. All hands on deck. We love our children. We love everybody's children. When we were out here so many years ago, we followed Cecil B. Moore. That's why we're all here, because of him. Had it not been for Cecil B. Moore, we would not be here at Girard College. He made us believe. He empowered us to make all of us know that we could make a difference. And as young people, you didn't think we thought we were going to break the walls, tear the walls down here. You didn't think we were going to make it so that Black people could have jobs. We could spend our money downtown, but you couldn't work on the floor. I was in the post office the other day, and I'll just mention this shortly. I was looking for a package to put a book in. And I went to the lady, I've been there for a bit, went to the lady. She was so indignant. She like brushed me off. And I said, do I say anything? Somebody said, no, go ahead and say something. I said, you know what, miss? I said, I was arrested at the post office at 30th Market for better working conditions for Black people and for women not to carry 50-pound bags and for people to be promoted. And I said, to have you brush me off like that, I said, that really hurt my feelings. I'm going to cry. Really going to cry. History is so important for each and every one of us, and especially our children, because they have to know there's somebody, they came from somebody, and that they're going to be somebody. And we have to believe, and it's hard because I know it's rough out there. We have to believe we're going to make a difference and we're gonna turn this thing around. And it's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen tomorrow. It's constant, because the same things we were fighting for, and people before us are fighting for, we're still fighting for them now. But I have hope, and that's what we have to have, hope. All hands on deck.
She said it all. All hands on deck. That convicts everyone. But I also know that when movements start, they're typically inspired and driven by music. And we're so pleased to have the Philadelphia Orchestra as a continuing partner in this work. So at this time, we're going to have a brief video by Matthias Tarnopolsky, working on that, President and CEO of the Philadelphia Orchestra.
Thank you, Todd, for inviting me to be part of today's announcement. I'm sorry that I can't join you all in person. There is no better way to start the new year than with a celebration of Dr. King and a reminder of the work that we must do to carry forward his legacy. We are delighted that our extraordinary music director, Yannick Nézet-Séguin, and the Philadelphia Orchestra will return to the Girard College Chapel this year to present our annual Martin Luther King Jr. tribute concert, one of our most important and cherished traditions. Music can give voice to thoughts and ideas that words alone cannot, and we look forward to demonstrating the remarkable power of the arts and of music to bring us together and create positive change in the world. We hope you will join us to hear works by James Weldon Johnson, Jessie Montgomery, Florence Price, Margaret Bonds, and more. We'll be joined by the Philadelphia High School for the Creative and Performing Arts Chorus and violinist Melissa White. And we'll continue our long-held tradition with Imasogi storyteller, narrator, and host Charlotte Blake Alston, delivering a stirring recitation of excerpts from Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, accompanied by Barber's sublime Adagio for strings with the Philadelphia Orchestra conducted by Yannick. I'd like to thank Todd once again, along with our dear friends at Girard College, our dear friends at PICO, especially President and CEO Mike Innocenzo, for Mike's and PICO's unwavering support of this concert and advocacy for equity and diversity in our world. And we also thank the National Endowment for the Arts and the Annenberg Foundation. This year's free concert will take place on January 16th at 3 p.m. You can reserve your tickets starting today on our website, philorg.org. We look forward to seeing you then.
Again, thank Mr. Tarnopolsky. Thank you for that. We have one more very important presentation to make before we conclude our program for this morning. Scott?
This is the last thing, and I thank everyone for being so patient for the last hour. I forgot in my remarks to do something I do every year, and that is to present the first T-shirt with our artwork this year, which includes the names of gun violence victims, particularly young people who died in 2022. And I'd also like to point out Zachariah. So just want to ask the mayor to come forward, accept this first T-shirt, and particularly I want to acknowledge in the rear our great sponsors, led by the United Way and FS Investments and Independence Blue Cross and a number of others. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for coming, and we will see you in 12 days on January 16th. Thank you all.
Hi, guys.